And now, Lifestyles Unlimited presents the Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Over the next hour, we unfold your map to financial freedom. You'll learn how to retire through investing in single-family and multifamily real estate. You'll learn how to create cash flow and build wealth so you can have the time and money to live the lifestyle you want.
Welcome to the show. My name is Al Gordon, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. On today's show, I've asked Robert to come back. Now, Robert was on my show literally a year ago today, and at that time, we talked to Robert about how he successfully walked away from his corner office. Yeah, all you people out there in corporate America, he had one of those corner offices. He had spent 35 years working in the property and asset management arm of real estate, and he made a ton of money for a ton of people. But ironically, what we found out a year ago was that none of that translated into his pocketbook. And as a result of that, he was looking at, now get this, he was in his mid-50s at the time he was doing all this stuff. We're going back about 6 years now. And here's the point I want to make. He was making money for everybody else. Nobody else was making money for him. He was looking into his 401k and realizing that, wow, if I try to live off of this thing, I'm in for a wild ride. And it's not the good kind of ride. It's the ride that I may not enjoy. He had a buddy who is a member of Lifestyles Unlimited who kept telling him, Robert, you just need to step across the threshold. You need to come on to the owner side. But Robert was a little bit reluctant until one day the light bulb went off in his head and he stepped across the threshold. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to invite Robert back onto the show. We're going to get back into his mind. We're not going to go over the same stuff we went over a year ago. If you want to hear that information, just go to lifestylesunlimited.com. All of our podcasts are available to you there. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about why he sold a bunch of real estate in a time period where people are saying, wow, real estate is doing terrible. It's a bad time to be in real estate. Yet Robert made a lot of money, not just for a lot of other people. He made a lot of money for himself. So welcome back to the show, Robert. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Man, I'm excited to have you back because, I mean, you sold, let's see, now let's frame this correctly for the audience. You had 6 multifamily apartment communities last time I had you on the show. Do I have that correct?
Yep, that's right.
How many do you have today?
As of last Thursday, we have 1 left.
What happened? Did you get foreclosed on? What happened to those other 5 properties?
Thank God, no. We sold 3 of the 4 last year, most of them right ahead of before real estate nosedive, so at record levels. And literally, I mean, a broker, one of them we sold at a 2.575 cap rate, which a broker told me was by far the lowest in Dallas-Fort Worth they've seen. And things have skyrocketed back up since then. So what that means is we sold it at a much higher price per unit. On a 1984 deal, we sold it at a higher per unit than what 2000 era stuff is selling for now by $20,000. So we, in hindsight, looked like we had a perfect crystal ball and are geniuses and all of that. But we just saw a really good opportunity and for timing to get out to maximize our profits. So we sold all of those. But you can always make money in real estate. We are signing literally today a letter of intent on our next deal because people that bought with adjustable rates and all of that kind of stuff are possibly having problems now, and there's about to be a lot of opportunities to buy new property. So you just have to be able to understand the markets and try to maximize your profits.
Well, what are you seeing in the markets that's licking your chops? I mean, you're seeing something that everybody else isn't seeing. What is that exactly?
Well, I think everybody has said this will come, right? But it hasn't been there. And I've probably done the underwriting on well over 80 deals over the last year and a half. Because honestly, I was motivated with selling those assets. I was going to have a big capital gains tax. So I'm like, I need to find something. But I'm not going to find something, for the tax reasons. I'm not going to buy a deal just to buy a deal if it's not a good deal. So 80-plus deals I did or underwrote didn't make sense. And I've been looking, but then we finally found one. I think there's going to be more and more of these that come up where, they're on an adjustable rate mortgage. Values, like I mentioned, per unit are going down, so maybe they're not meeting their pro formas. and they've got investors who are saying, hey, you promised us X and we're not getting it, so let's move on to something else. So there's a lot of buying opportunities that are starting, and I think that's just going to continue over the next year or so. We saw the same thing right at the start of COVID. One of the deals we bought, everybody froze up and quit buying stuff. We pounced on this deal. It's turned out to be one of our best performers, record-setting profits of our deals to date.
Robert, if you look back, I mean, do you even care about that 35 years you spent in the commercial real estate industry?
Yeah, I feel like my wife has to remind me of this every now and then, but every bit of it led to this. So the experience I gained, good and bad. So, yeah, I wouldn't trade it. I do wish I'd done this earlier, like everybody says, but I don't regret it.
Yeah, you and me are cut from the same cloth. If I had found out about Lifestyles Unlimited many years before I did, my total trajectory in my life would have been different. I don't even know if I would have made it to retirement in the military, because I would have seen other great possibilities that, you know, the wealth that we can create with real estate is exceptional, is it not?
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's just life-changing.
Completely life-changing. I mean, it changed your life in 3 years. What was that like going through that process? I mean, were you scared to death? Were you laser focused? What was going on in your mind?
Laser focused because I was scared to death, because I was giving up. I was giving up the big corner office. I was giving up the big salary, and I'm like, at my age, what am I doing? Jumping off the deep end and hoping the water's deep enough and all that. But yeah, so it was really scary to walk away from that kind of income and certainty, even though there was so much uncertainty. I've talked about this before, but you do such a good job, they sell your portfolio and go, gosh, Robert, thank you so much, but we don't have a portfolio for you right now, so good luck to you. And you're like, okay. So
basically they sell the property out from underneath you and you're immediately unemployed. Yeah.
And then you wait, you try to find a new job and you're burning through your savings until you do. And then you tee it back up and you start over again. So that was
How many times did that happen to you in a 35-year career?
Oh, gosh, 4 easily.
Ouch.
And so then the last company I worked for was a fantastic company. I was there 14, 15 years. I finally found the company that's just a great company, cares about their employees. We got rated number 1 in the nation for customer service 6 years in a row. It's like everything I've ever wanted to be able to build in a management company did. And like stability and all of that. These owners are great people. And so then I'm like, I'm going to leave this for a chance, for a gamble. And that being said, it was the best decision I ever made.
So no regrets. You're 100% happy. Your spouse is extremely happy with the results, I'm guessing, correct?
I don't know about the latter. She sees me a whole lot more now.
You're always home now on that 17-acre property you have. You still have that 17 acres on a creek?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Now, did you buy that?
Field of flowers as we're speaking.
Why did you go out and buy 17 acres on a creek? I mean, what was the point behind that?
Well, we had some friends that lived out down here, and she posted, she's a broker, she posted, like, hey, you ought to really come and look at this house and move down here. We're like, okay, sure, whatever. It was an excuse to come visit them on the weekend. We hadn't seen them in a while. And it was one of those, we drove over the bridge over our creek, saw the house, saw the land, and just we looked at each other and went, we're done. We got to do this. So, no more rush hour traffic, no more hearing the neighbors and all that stuff. It's just, I love it. I mean, I post pictures almost daily of the sunset and the sunrises on Facebook. People probably
I've seen those photos. You get some beautiful scenery out where you're at. So yeah. The point is, not only did you retire yourself in 3 years, you bought your dream property. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah. And what I like probably even more than that is that in selling these deals, I've had 3 of my investors tell me that I have retired them. So it's like that means more to me than the world. It's like helping other people also get retired and enjoy the lifestyle.
Man, I'm doing a happy dance right now. 3 people told you that because of what you did, because of the work you did on their behalf, they're real estate retired now?
Yep.
Man, I tell you what, I don't know if Rick knows how to make the fireworks sounds go off in the background, but that's exactly what should happen, because you change the lives of other people and you help them achieve the goal that they were trying to achieve, which was real estate retirement. Virtual high five, Robert.
Well, I thank Lifestyle for that, because I couldn't have done it on my own, that's for sure.
So let me switch gears on you, because I'm really curious as to what you do for property location, not your 17 acres that you live on, but specifically for the assets that you're looking to invest in. What are some of the parameters that you look for in a deal?
So they always change. You know, when we started, we were buying 80s or newer. I never wanted to do the 60s or 70s because of lead-based paint, asbestos, other reasons. So we were doing 80s deals, but now insurance, at least in Texas, is saying they're not going to insure, or a lot of the insurers are pulling out on deals that are 1984 or older. So that also, those are 50-year-old deals now. So we changed our criteria and said we just want to do 90s or newer. We want it to be within DFW or somewhere that we can drive or fly to, because we want to be able to touch our properties, see them all the time, not manage them from afar. So the deal that we're doing a letter of intent on is a 2001 deal, really nice deal, with tons of upside, and it's 20 years newer. So those are kind of the criteria we look at, and couldn't find them on my own. I have to have the team that I've built up through Lifestyles of the brokerage community, the lending community, out there looking and saying, hey, Robert, have you heard about this deal that may be coming up? So it's definitely, you build up your team through the connections you make in Lifestyles.
How many people are on that team that are part of your property location element?
Boy, it's very deep. I mean, you've got Old Capital with Paul Peoples and Ricardo, all the main brokers in town. We're calling and giving you a heads up, hey, you need to be looking at this deal. It's probably about to come up. Lending institutions, insurance. I've got two great insurance companies who will give me quotes immediately. So, and then I've got another group that I've known her for years that she helps me with my due diligence. So it's just building up your network.
So it sounds like to me you've got a lot of people working hard on your behalf, and that frees up a bunch of your time, does it not? I mean, it sounds okay. So how many hours a week are you actually spending focused on real estate investment?
Well, I'm 7 days a week, honestly. In some ways, I jokingly say that I work harder now than I ever have, but it's because I want to. It's not because I have to. It's my passion. We like to really feel like we're going in and giving people better service than anybody else. Like I said, the company I worked for, we won best in the nation for customer service 6 years in a row nationally. So that's really important to us. We feel like it decreases your turnover, your employees love you more, and all of that. So to us, that's a big deal.
Wow, Robert, you just completely described 100% control of your life. When we come back from the break, we're going to get back into his mind. Stick around.
Got questions? Call Lifestyles Unlimited at 855-497-4335. The Real Estate Investor Radio Show continues next.
Del Walmsley's Real Estate Investing Worst Case Scenario.
Let's say the Democrats took away all tax deductions away from real estate like Ronald Reagan did in 1986. And in 1986, we had stock market crash, a real estate value crash. The world came to an end for 3 months. Why? Because he took the value away from owning real estate for people who used it as a tax break. People like myself who got started at 87 go, you can really buy this stuff cheap right now. In fact, I can buy it so cheap, I can rent it and make a 20% return. Cap rates were 20%. I buy a building and I made 20% of my money without leverage. If I put leverage on it, I made 30 or 40% return. Ungodly returns. Right now, you can earn less than 1% on a savings account. So do you think I hope that happens again? Yes, I do. In 2008, when the world crashed and cratered, I bought real estate 50 cents on the dollar. Said, well, what happened to the stuff you already owned? I kept it. It stayed full. We rented it. We made money.
Don't let the fear of losing money hold you back from making money. Join us for the next live online free workshop. Register at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
creating the lifestyle you've always wanted. You're hearing Lifestyles Unlimited's Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Welcome back to the second half of the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. My name is Al Gordon. I'm joined by Robert, and together we're working on your financial freedom. Now, one of the things that Robert holds dear in his heart is the desire to help other people. And this is a very, very important concept in real estate investing, because one of the things that we're taught at Lifestyles Unlimited is this statement, and I'll share it with you right now. You ready for it? If you help enough other people get what they want, they in turn will help you get what you want. Robert, do you believe that statement to be true?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can call it karma, you can call it whatever you want, but absolutely. I mean, the more you're helping other people, the more, I think, when Whitfield's saying, when the tide rises, all boats rise. But I've also been in work environments where everybody's shooting at each other's boat, trying to put more holes in their boat so they'll sink. I'm like, it's such a negative environment that everybody's drowning. So it's very important that you're trying to help other people.
So who are the people that you help that help you?
Multi-level there. So, I've made this analogy for years, but you wouldn't have a guy from Ford sitting down at lunch with a guy from GM and saying, gosh, I'm having these problems at work, and hey, can you share ideas with me? And at Lifestyles, you have that. We call them lead investors, which is the general partner syndicator. But I've developed such a tight friendship with about, 8 to 10 leads. Or these are people I would recommend to any investor. If they have a deal, you need to get in their deal. I can call them. They call me all the time, asking questions. What would you do? Hey, congrats on your successes. So that's been huge to be able to help. Probably more than anything, it's just having that kind of network.
What about the people that are bringing you the deals? We kind of talked about that a little bit in the last segment, but how does that help them by bringing you deals?
Well, they have to, they're commission-based, right? So they're going to go to reputable people, or they're going to bring deals to reputable people. They're going to bring deals to people that they know can actually perform and not pull their chain. And what I mean by that is that, the deal doesn't fall through at the last minute for whatever reason. So they have to know that you're somebody that can go out there, you can raise the equity, which in Lifestyles you can do because you've made that network of all your potential investors. So they have to know that you're somebody that they can do business with and that they trust.
How do you become somebody who's considered reputable in the industry?
I'm going to take the easy answer here and say through Lifestyles. And why I say that is that I tried to do it on my own before I joined Lifestyles. Nobody knew who Robert Tuning was in the brokerage community. But when you come as a part, it's like, hey, I'm in Lifestyles. They know you've got this educational backing. They know you've got the financing behind you, and the history of making deals close. Suddenly you're like, okay, this is somebody that we need to get to know. And then after you get a couple of deals under your belt, they're like, we want to get on this guy's train and stay on his train. And it goes both ways. Me with the brokers, it's like I want to keep doing business with this guy because he brings me good deals.
Now, this is going to be an oddball question, but I'm going to ask it anyhow because I already know the answer. But do you self-manage or do you opt to go with a third-party management company?
We definitely self-manage just because of my career in property management. If I would feel sorry for a fee manager working for me because I know enough to be dangerous. I'd always be asking questions.
That would be a scary position. I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm laughing because it's kind of like I'm going to be the starting quarterback for a team where Tom Brady is the quarterback coach. That's got to be an impossible situation to go into, right?
Well, I've never been compared to Tom Brady, but I do like the analogy.
Okay, well, there you go. So the first time in your life I've compared you to Tom Brady. So there, I'll pat myself on the back and let's move on with the interview. Okay, so you owe a lot to Lifestyles Unlimited, and Lifestyles Unlimited actually has a really solid reputation in not only the lending community, but the brokerage community, all the communities that affect real estate transactions. Did you know that going into this, or was this something that just kind of caught you off guard that made you go, wow, this is pretty cool, I'm going to ride this tide?
I did not know it, even with a good friend of mine that we've been in the industry together for years, John Ridgway, telling me about a lot of lifestyles, or a lot about lifestyles, and then seeing his success. I was still had on the W-2 blinders so much, so I wasn't really focused on it. I went to I went to the 2-day and saw, kind of had the blinders taken off a little bit, saw the light bulb starting to turn on, but still didn't understand really the connections that Lifestyles has. I still thought it, like a lot of people have jokingly said, it sounded like multi-level marketing or something. So a lot of skepticism going into it until I started making those relationships very quickly. But when I say the relationships with other leads, with brokerage communities, with finance guys, the education team and the employees at Lifestyles who were so ready and willing to help you along the way, it very quickly opened my eyes to what was available.
Were you fighting against your own ego?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my idea, getting out of college was I was going to get a job, I was going to get the corner office at some point, always make more money, get promoted, and at some point be made a partner. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, looking at, I'll be honest, when I was president of the apartment associations and all of that stuff, you look at the little guy coming, I was like, I'm in this 26,000 units. I'm a big dog. And then you see somebody come in and go, oh, I'm an IRO. I own a couple of hundred units. So it's like, a couple of hundred units. And when they're laughing at me because they're the ones going to Monaco for 3 months every summer and having the life, and I'm over there working myself to death. So, yeah, I came in very skeptical on the front end.
Sometimes us old dogs, we can learn new tricks, can we not?
That's right.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, you have a passion for helping other people. Can you explain to the audience what you do to assist other members?
Well, I think I can't try to single myself out here because it's, like I alluded to, it's something that I think all leads do, try to help each other and be open and ask questions. And, at first when I joined, I thought I don't want to come across someone like I'm Mr. Property Management. I know stuff. So I kept really quiet and just tried to learn from other people, which my wife would say, what a concept. I was listening. But I learned quickly that, there is a lot that I can add to the conversation, and people were very appreciative of that. So it took me a while to get comfortable being open and sharing, but it is such a give and take environment that anything I give, I got to be honest, I get at least that much back, if not more.
Yeah, I think the community at Lifestyles Unlimited is real receptive to that type of behavior. I mean, we all want the same thing for each other. We all want success. We all share stories of success with each other because it's through those successes that we learn success. I mean, you certainly wouldn't want somebody teaching you how to fail, correct?
That's right. Absolutely. I think I've said this, but I tried to do deals on my own before. I didn't have the brokerage connections. I definitely didn't have the net worth. So, yeah, it's just another of many avenues that Lifestyles opens up to you.
So you have 8 other lead investors that you have on speed dial that are available to you anytime you need them. You also have connectivity with the entire Lifestyles Unlimited community. I mean, this is a major combat multiplier for you, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, trying to do that out there on your own, figure it out on your own, good luck.
Talk to me a little bit about your legacy planning. What exactly does legacy mean to you, and what are you planning to do with it?
It's funny you ask that because my wife and I right now are going through that very discussion. We haven't had children, so that would be the obvious one. But so we're having those very discussions right now about what we want to do. When I was younger, it was more ego-driven in that I want to be remembered, that I gave great customer service to our residents and that our employees loved working for us. And a passion for me has always been that, just because someone is low income or middle income, they shouldn't live in a bad place or an unsafe place or a dirty place. They deserve the same opportunities to be able to have the American dream and try to advance their kids up a level or more. So that's been a passion of mine. It's like we're going to provide the best housing for them. They're going to be appreciative of it, which has benefits because it decreases our turnover. Our employees then have a mission and a passion for what they do, so we have lower employee turnover. So that's kind of been my legacy in the past, is that that's what I want to do, is make a difference in multifamily. But going forward, it's like, what do we do at the end of the day? Those are the discussions we're having right now. It's like, when we're gone, what are we going to do with this? What charities are we going to do? What organizations do we want to help move the ball forward?
So you're actually in a power position right now in your life, because you're deciding what all of this wealth is going to do for other people other than your family, correct?
Yeah, and I can't even begin to describe. There's an old Doors Jim Morrison song about called "Break On Through to the Other Side."
Oh yeah, no, well.
That is, when you're working your W-2 job and you're waiting for the next paycheck and you're circling your checkbook calendar about, okay, this is a 3-month pay period. Woohoo, that's like a free check this month. I've got a little bit of extra money. I can sleep better at night feeling for sure.
Tell me about the lifestyle you've been able to create. What do you do on a daily basis that just brings you absolute joy?
So, we talked about the 17 acres. I've built two chipping greens and then a driving flag way back in the back. So, I get up in the morning, I have my coffee, I read the news, and then I work for a couple hours, and I got to get up and get outside. It looks beautiful out there. I go out and hit golf balls for quite a while, play with the dog, come back in and work some more. And in none of that, you never heard I spend an hour in the car driving to work. When I go in to drive the properties, I leave when I want to leave, when it's not rush hour traffic. So I totally control my day. I control my time. If I want to work on a Saturday, that's fine, because I want to work on a Saturday. It's not because I'm having to go into the office on a Saturday. So it's just totally freeing and being in control.
Yeah, man, that control thing is an amazing thing. We got to find a way to bottle that up and sell that to people. Do you think we could make some money on that?
Well, I think it's called lifestyle. It's there.
Oh, it's already been created.
There you go.
Yeah, it's been around for almost 34 years, helping people like you and me completely change our lives and teach us to do something a little bit different than what we had been doing. Because like you, Robert, I came from a background where, I thought I was all that in a bag of chips. I had a pretty big ego, and then I tried to retire from the military and had my lunch handed to me. Fortunately, you didn't go through that type of experience, but man, you went through that experience of realizing in your 50s that maybe the end wasn't the way it was supposed to be. So tell me, what does the end look like right now?
I don't know. I mean, as long as I'm enjoying what I'm doing, I'm going to keep doing it. But I will say, last year when we sold those deals, I ended up unintentionally, I might have mentioned this, but I went from being the lead investor to I need to offset these capital gains and get in some deals. I couldn't find a deal I liked. So I ended up investing in other leads' deals as a passive. And suddenly I went from having 5 properties, the responsibility for 5 properties and probably 600 investors that I was responsible for, to a whole lot less. And being a passive investor, I'm like, well, this is kind of nice too. So
you're learning the secret of being a passive investor and why so many lead investors have that goal of becoming a passive investor. That's exactly you understand it now, don't you?
That's right. So finding that balance, but I'm going to keep doing, finding new deals and searching for new deals and, playing in it as long as it's fun.
Well, I think you have a bright future, Robert. I think there's a lot of opportunity available for you. And I want to thank you for coming on today's show. I think you've helped our audience understand some concepts that maybe they were struggling with. I also believe that you have changed somebody's life. And with that, it's time for us to go. Hey, look, if you want to do what Robert and I are doing, just go to lifestylesunlimited.com, sign up for a free workshop, and let's get you going.
The information and opinions you hear on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show are those of the hosts, guests, and callers. The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.